Hello guys, in this video I want to show you how to access your MongoDB cluster deployment that is deployed on Atlas and how to access it or connect to it from what we call MongoSH. MongoSH in full is what is known as MongoDB Shell. MongoDB Shell is a command line interface that allows you to connect to your MongoDB deployment or cluster from the command line, from which you can do all other operations such as in querying your DB, inserting, updating, configuring your database, monitoring your database, and every other thing. Whereas Atlas, which is what I'm currently showing you here, is a fully managed MongoDB deployment in the cloud. It is what we call a cloud-hosted data platform for MongoDB. So Atlas simplifies a lot of processes such as scaling, monitoring, creation of replicas, and a lot that you can actually accomplish easily from Atlas. So as you can see, what I'm having currently here is just the landing page or the overview, the first page that you get when you log into your Atlas account. And from here, I can actually browse my collections by clicking on that, and I will be able to see all the collections or databases that I have. Remember, in MongoDB, the tables are what we call collections. Database still the same, it's called a database, and then a record, which you call in SQL or relational databases as a record. In MongoDB, we call it a document. So as you can see, these are my databases that I have in this cluster. And then if I want to view the collections, I can just click on any of these databases. For example, if I click on aggregation pipelines here, I'll be able to see that I have an orders collection here, which is what we call a table in an SQL or relational database. So to view some of the documents inside the orders collection, I can click on orders this way, double click on that, then you can see it's loading documents, and I have 8 documents here. Now, in other words, to use MongoSH, which is the Mongo shell, you have to install it on your computer. To install it, just come to MongoDB website, and then you will find instructions on how to install what we call MongoSH. So let me just go to Google and show you real quick. So you'll just type Google install MongoSH, and then that will give you the link that will give you the instructions on how to install MongoDB Shell, or what you call MongoSH. Follow all the instructions and ensure you have MongoSH installed. And to verify that you have the installation, you just come and type MongoSH, then version. That should give you a number, which is the version of the MongoSH you have installed here. Suppose you have a local installation of MongoDB server. Then if you type MongoSH, that will automatically log into your local installation through port 127.0.0.1, and the port is 27017. Actually, it's not a port, but the address 127.0.0.1 through port number 27017. So that is what you get when you have MongoSH. You have MongoDB installed locally, MongoDB server. And that is not what we want to demo here. What we want to demo here is how to connect to a cloud deployment, which is deployed on a cluster, an instance of MongoDB deployed on Atlas. Okay, so I will exit this MongoSH connection at the moment, clear my terminal, and then we are back to default. Now, to connect to my cluster, what I need to do is to just go back to the home page where I was, and then I'm going to show you there's a button for connecting. So that button is what we are going to use to connect to our MongoSH. So click on the project itself. In this case, I want to connect the Nautas project. Click on that, and then once you click on that, it will load. Just a minute. Then you see here we have connect button here. So click on this connect button, click on connect, and then you have to choose where you want to connect to. Do you want to connect to your application? So this is what you use when you are connecting to your project. Let's say you are building application using Go or JS. You'll have to click on this option here and then select your language: Kotlin, PHP, Python, Ruby, Rust, Go. Okay. Also, we have another option where you want to connect to the GUI application, that is MongoDB Campus, that allows you to visualize what you have on Atlas from a GUI installed locally on your machine. And then now we have Shell. Now Shell is what we are talking about today. And now I need to click on Shell. So once I click on Shell, you see that you have to select the platform from which you're working on. So Ubuntu 20.04 or 22.04. So I'll just click on 20.04 and that is okay. And then just scroll down, and then here you have a connection strings. You see, use this connection string in your application. So I'll just copy this connection string, and then I'll go back to my terminal and then right click and paste whatever I've copied. So you see the first command is MongoSH, and then the parameter that we pass here is the URL connection string of your Atlas cluster, which is this one here. And then we have the API version, and then we have the username of that deployment, which is my name, which will be your name at Tosego Tech, and then just press enter. So remember, your cluster is always protected using a password or other methods such as the signature that we have, but in my case, mine is protected using a password. So I need to provide that password here. So I'll just type my password here, then press enter. Now you see current MongoSH log ID is this one, then connecting to that cluster. So you will see what will happen once we are connected. Fantastic. Now you see we are using MongoDB version 8.0.4, MongoSH 2.3.7, and then now we are logged in. If you want to know you're logged in, just see that the default database that is selected here is test. Now, can we go back to the Atlas portal here and see if we have a test database or another database here? So let's see the databases we have here, and then we are going to confirm that from our MongoSH, which is the cell that we're having. Of course, you see we have the test database here. Now from here, you see we have many databases like test, search and filter, sample weather data, sample training, sample geospatial, everything that you see here. Now let's go back to the terminal and just visualize the databases if you can actually see them from the terminal itself or the MongoSH, the Mongo shell. In MongoDB, to view the list of databases that you have, you use the command show DBs. Fantastic. Now you see we are having the exact databases that we have on our cluster, that is test, admin, search and filter, sample weather data, sample training, geospatial, sample analytics. Fantastic. So you see that we already connected to our Atlas deployment, and we can actually perform queries, insert operations, update operations, delete operations right from our terminal using MongoSH. Now in MongoDB, let's say we want to use a database, sample geospatial, or let's use sample training. To switch to a database, MongoDB makes it very easy. You simply type use, and then we want to use sample underscore training. That is how you switch to a database. Okay. Now you see it has changed from test to sample training. Okay. Now that is how you switch to a database. And then now that we are in sample training, we can be able to see the collections in MongoDB, or the tables as you call it in SQL, by typing show collections. So that will show us all the tables or collections that we have in the sample training databases. Okay. Now we have companies, grades, inspections, posts, routes, trips, and zips. Right. Now let's try and just select top 20 records, as you call it in SQL or relational databases, but in MongoDB we call it documents. Now let's try and select top 20 documents from companies collection. How do you do that? You do that using this command, dot the name of the collection, which is companies, dot find, and then you can limit to 20 documents only. Okay, now as we can see, this is what we get. We get the actual data from the top 20 documents from the company's collection. So this was just like a short video showing you how to connect to your Atlas deployment using the MongoSH Shell. See you guys in the next video. Also, signing out. Bye.